Hey, it's the Nerdy Sports Fan, and we're giving out draft grades. We're into the NFC North and wrapping things up in that division, really. We just have the Vikings left to go. Now, the Vikings had some adjustments to make, especially on their defense. So, in this offseason, they've already traded away an extremely talented wide receiver. They got a first round pick out of it, though, so that's good. And via free agency, they've allowed to leave two defensive backs, their starting defensive backs, and a very, very high quality defensive end, edge rusher. So you really needed to address the defense in this draft. And I think the Vikings did just that. So with the 22nd pick that they got from the Bills, they end up drafting Stephon Diggs' direct replacement in Justin Jefferson. Now, Justin Jefferson played extremely well for LSU. He did so, though, with another wide receiver who's likely going to be the top wideout taken in next year's draft in Jamar Chase, playing opposite him, and with the best quarterback college football has ever seen, at least on a single season basis. So you wonder about his production, but he's going to a team with a good quarterback and a great wide receiver on the opposite side. So he's leaving a situation that was fantastic for a receiver, and he's going to a situation which is just as good. Not to mention, the Vikings are going more run-centric in general. So having a young wide receiver opposite Adam Thielen isn't exactly a huge deal. You're going to be going to Dalvin Cook more anyway. So they filled that immediate need, and then they went to work on that defense. Okay, so you get Jeff Gladney, who is... I had been mock drafting Jeff Gladney to the Vikings for a long time. I think he's a perfect fit for Mike Zimmer's defense. I think he's athletically gifted, and he may be a little bit undersized, but what defensive back isn't a little bit undersized? I think the guy's got hops to make up for his lack of height, and he's just tough. He is a tough-nosed player. He's a very willing and very strong tackler. He's been used in blitz packages, and he's good with the ball in his hands. Okay, he can make some things happen once he picks the ball off, and he will. There's game film of this guy just ripping the ball right out of people's hands when they're in the process of making the catch. So he's tough, and he knows how to turn the football over, which is perfect for Mike Zimmer's defense. You also addressed defensive back a little later with Cameron Dantzler. So Dantzler and Gladney, late in the first and in the third round, you have two starting defensive backs there. Now, they're both rookies. You're going to have to deal with rookie kind of issues, but you did seriously get two starting defensive backs in this draft. So by the end of this season, beginning of next season, you'll really see what they're able to bring to the table. But right out of the gates, they'll be at least effective. So I do appreciate that level of attention on the defense. So in between Gladney and Dantzler, you got Ezra Cleveland, which I'm not necessarily as high on. He's an offensive tackle, which addresses a position of need for the team. But I just feel like his talent level at his draft position didn't really match up. I felt like there were other players, not necessarily at his position, but other players that you could have picked up that would have addressed positions in need, that would have actually matched up with the draft value of that position. I think you could have gotten Ezra Cleveland later on in the draft than you did. But I'm really big on Cameron Dantzler and Jeff Gladney, so I think that more than makes up for it. And after that, considering you lost an edge rusher, I understand the Vikings feel that they have the direct replacement in the fold already, but they also threw a couple of fourth-round draft picks at people that have potential to at least be good rotational edge rushers and defensive ends in the Vikings system, in DJ Wonham and James Lynch. I'm not crazy high on either of them. I've done a little bit of film study on them, but they weren't necessarily worth a heck of a lot of film study, considering I'm one man going through hundreds of players. They didn't pop off the film. They're going to be people that you have to develop and work in a rotation at first. Neither one of these guys is going to be just absolutely amazing, and you're not expecting that necessarily out of a 4th round pick anyway. You have a mishmash of 5th and 7th round picks. You've got an obscene number of 7th round picks here. Just based off of all the trades that have been going on with the Vikings, they accumulated 4 7th round picks this year. I would have loved to see them parlay some of those into future picks next year, somehow package a few of them and move up maybe, but they just didn't do it. A lot of teams weren't trading this year. I don't know how much of that is the fault of the Vikings not attempting to trade up with those 7th round picks, and how much of it was just teams not wanting 7th round picks. But I get it. You got 4 camp bodies. Great. Overall, I give this draft an A. They addressed immediate needs. They addressed 3 of those immediate needs extremely effectively. They addressed 1 immediate need kind of effectively. And they loaded up on rotational depth in another position where they have a need. So I think they used their draft capital wisely for what the team needs this draft to be. Tell me what you think, though. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you think the Vikings hit it out of the park or if they really have some work to do. Hit up the rest of the videos I have to see what I think about the rest of the league. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. And thank you very much for watching.